Good morning, Instagram Live. It's Karen. How are you? I'm in my little studio here. I like doing these in the car much better. So I thought I would read this today. Courage to Change, June 27th. It's Saturday, June 27th. Let's see what we got here. One day I received a call from a newcomer to Al Anon. We chatted for a while, and then he asked if I would consider being a sponsor. I was shocked. I never expected anyone to ask me. I felt deeply humbled and ecstatically grateful at the same time. But had I grown sufficiently to offer help to someone else? Did I have anything to give? Could I be there for someone else without losing myself? Fear took over for a minute, but then I remembered that he was not asking me to be his savior, only his helper, whose example and experience might lead him to his own recovery. I know that my higher power brings people into my life who can help me to grow. So I said a quick prayer asking to be worthy and answered that I would be honored to be his sponsor. Today's reminder: being a sponsor is as much a commitment to myself as it is to someone else. It is not a favor. Sponsorship gives me a chance to share intimately, to care, to practice detaching with love, and to apply the Al Anon principles with more consciously than ever. If I listen to my own words, I find that I usually tell all whom I sponsor exactly what I need to hear myself. Okay, so that's a good reading. As you know, I'm a big proponent of helping others. It's the only way to get well. It's the only way to move forward, I think, is by helping others. And I'm not talking about just Al Anon. I'm talking about anybody. I'm talking about people with mental illness. I'm talking about Al Anon, Nar Anon, Alcoholics Anonymous, addicts, anybody. Someone that's suffering from loneliness, anxiety, depression. I think there's it's this trick in the universe that if you are in your mind, in your head, and you are anxious or you're depressed or you're focused on someone, or whatever that is that's going on in your mind that's causing you angst, if you shift your perception onto someone else and what they might need, it relieves that feeling. Now, this is tricky with Al Anon because Al Anon people like to take care of other people all the time, right? And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people in the program. I talk a lot about my own experience. My own experience is helpful to other people. Your experience is helpful to other people. That's what you're going to use. You're not going to come up with stuff in your head of what people should do. That's a problem. I'm going to tell you a story, a pretty intimate story. I talk about my mom a lot. I love my mom very much, my adopted mother. And she is a pistol. And she is a Christian woman who helped people all her life. And still does. She's in a memory care facility in Montana. And she still runs around there and helps people. She helps people so much that other families and stuff there think she works there. Like, she is just one of those people. She loves people, and she will do anything to take care of people. And she suffered terribly from codependency. And God, where was I going with this? I have this great story about her. Oh, so she loves to take care of people. So when I got sober and I went to treatment 26 years ago, 28 years ago, when I was first introduced to recovery. And they invited her to come to family. And I didn't know anything. First thing, I didn't even think I was an alcoholic, an addict, a codependent. I didn't know anything about it. I was very young. I was in my 20s. I knew I had problems, but I didn't know what they were. So I went in there and they started talking about boundaries and all this stuff. Then they want my mom to come. And I'm like, why would my mom come? This is my problem, right? So my mom comes and they have us in this family setting. And my mom, I realized, was so sick from my alcoholism. Like, she was really sick. Like, I had no idea how neurotic I made this woman, and how it was terrible, and how she had just become like this victim of me, my mom. It was horrible. And so she started going to Al-Anon, and she went to Al-Anon, and finally this one old-timer woman at Al-Anon set her straight and told her, you're not doing this right. You're not doing this program right? We're giving you a program of recovery, and you're going to ask God for some help here, right? You're going to have a spiritual program of recovery so you can take care of yourself. And that means if you can help someone else with that, with this experience like you had with your family, you're going to be helpful in Al-Anon. But you're not going to run around helping people that, are in their disease or their illness or whatever, co-signing their bullshit. And my mom was very religious, so she did it all in the name of God, which makes it harder. It's really hard unless you have someone explaining to you to pull this stuff apart, right? In the name of God, she ran around and took care of other people to her demise, to her demise. So this thing is like her experience could help people in Al-Anon. Your experience can help people, right? You're going to meet people. Gosh, I met this woman once. She was cleaning my house. And I was living a program of recovery in my own home, of course. And she was cleaning my house and became a very good friend of mine, kind of running my household. And then she told me her husband was a drug addict, and she didn't know what to do. And all I did was say, you know what works for me? Al-Anon. And she found Al-Anon. I helped her look for Al-Anon, Spanish groups of Al-Anon here in the Coachella Valley. And she started going to Al-Anon. And I'll tell you what, she became a black belt Al-Anon. And she had all these women she was helping. She wasn't helping her husband, the drug addict, right? Or the kids who became very dysfunctional and, wanted money and cars and that stuff. No. She became very active in the answer. See, the solution became really, and she changed her life. I mean, oh my God. She went back to school. She ended up leaving him. She took the kids. They all straightened out. I mean, but it was tough, right? She really, she's like my hero. And it was just because I told her about Al-Anon, so I was able to be helpful, and I was able to be helpful to someone without telling them, you need to leave your husband. You know what you need to do? You need to, kick those kids out. You need to tell them they're not getting no car. They need to get a job. You know what I mean? I didn't say any of that. What I said was, what really worked for me? Al-Anon. And the reason Al-Anon, Nar Anon, AA, and any kind of group thing works is when you're in the disease of codependency or alcoholism, it's very crazy, right? It's mental. It's like, 1 minute, I think I'm doing the right thing, and now I'm crazy, right? And that's because alcoholics can gaslight you. They lie to you. You don't know up from down, right? You're just all over. People are using you like a ping pong ball, just all over, right? So when you go to a meeting, it allows you to see the disease in someone else in different stages. You might see it in someone who's been there for 30 years and who has a pretty good understanding, right? There might be someone there that's been there for 2 weeks, and you might be able to witness the light bulb going off in their head, right? That goes, oh my God, I get it. I see. That spiritual process that happens in these programs, you can watch that. And then you'll experience for yourself. But if you're just focused on yourself, you can't see anything. We just co-sign everything. I talked about that yesterday, I think. When you love someone so much, you make excuses and you rationalize and you justify. And it's like a dog chasing its tail. You know what I mean? You're mad, you're pissed off, I've had it, we're not doing this anymore. And then guilt, remorse, shame, self-pity. Then you come around to, oh my God, I love them so much, I can't leave them. And it's just like, and it's exhausting, right? So you need that outside experience of a group, a confidential group, and then you find someone who's done it, who's walking. When you're walking through hell, Winston Churchill says, when you're going through hell, keep going. Don't stop. So what you need to do is, if you've got something problematic in your life, whatever it is, if you go to Al-Anon, there's someone a few feet ahead of you. You're going to follow them. They're going to say, hey, come on, come this way, right? And you're going to do this thing where you go, oh, I don't think so. You don't understand. My daughter's really wonderful, and she doesn't mean anything. My husband has been through a lot of pressure. My wife has been depressed since she had the baby. I mean, you're going to start all these justifications. Just follow the person in front of you, right? They're going to say, this is what I did. Do what I do, right? I met a guy years ago that told me that. He said, you want to work out? Just find someone that looks the way you want to look and ask them what they did. Do that. Pretty easy. Same with Al-Anon. Go to Al-Anon. Follow someone through to the other side of hell. Someone will come in behind you, and you're going to turn around. You're going to say, hey, come on, follow me. This is what they told me to do. And you just tell them what you know up to that point. And if you've been to Al-Anon, you know more than someone that hasn't. Sometimes the biggest help you can be at Al-Anon or any kind of program is making someone feel welcome. Because when you go to a program like Al-Anon, you don't go because your life is great. You go because everything is fucked up, right? Just like AA. You don't end up in AA a winner. You don't go to NA because you are a superhero. No, everything's gone to pot. Everything's just trashed. So when you get to Al-Anon, you're so worried. You don't want anyone to know your shit, your stuff. You don't want to be criticized. You're doing the best you can, right? So it's really hard to walk into a room full of strangers. And the best thing you can do to be helpful to someone, if you think, like this reading says, you have nothing to offer, you're wrong, right? You could say welcome. Have you ever been to a meeting before? Have a seat. The coffee's in there. We're going to read out of this book. This is what's going to happen. They're going to start the meeting. Cheryl's going to lead, right? We're going to say some prayers. Then we're going to read this reading, and they'll go around. And if you don't want to share, you can pass today. Next meeting's tomorrow at 9 a.m., right? I hope you come. I'll be here. You can sit with me. That's helpful. You don't have to tell somebody, you know what? You need to leave your husband. Just be helpful, right? That moment of time when you're asking someone, have you been here before? Would you like some coffee? You will feel like you won the lottery. That is helping others. That is how you're going to get better. And then once they come and they're going to say, well, what do I do? Well, they told me to do this reading, to start praying the Serenity Prayer, right? This is what they told me. Whatever they told you, tell them. And then say, you might want to find a sponsor, right? Well, what am I going to look for in a sponsor? Someone to take you through the steps, right? Somebody that you can share some things with intimately that you wouldn't do in a group. That kind of stuff people don't know. Those of us that go to meetings all the time, we really forget what it was like to be new. And I think when you're helping someone, that's what you're doing. You're helping someone feel comfortable. You're not telling them how to run their life. That's where my mom messed up. My mom could not help. She was telling people in Al-Anon about Jesus, and they shut her down. And she never went back. That's the sad part of the story. She never went back. I don't know if it's because her faith was so big in Jesus, in God, her own religion, that she couldn't understand that. Jesus did save her from everything. You know what I mean? It really, she, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's that big a deal that she didn't do it. She lived her life the way she wanted to. I have no qualms about it. I mean, she got enough of Al-Anon to know she quit helping me. It saved my life, you know. So, and she got some real good tools around my brothers and the grandkids and the neighbors and just everybody, you know what I mean? She just did, it was better at church, everything. But she didn't continue to go because they wouldn't let her talk about, you know, getting baptized and being saved in the Holy Spirit and all that. And I think that's true. Some people just, you know, especially the older generation, you know, it's an open-minded program. It's not religious. And, you know, and so she went to church, you know, and so you'll find your own thing. And even at church, you just keep helping. Like I said, she's helpful now. She has full-on dementia. And she is the most helpful woman you've ever seen in that lockdown memory care facility. I mean, really, people come up to me when I visit and say, your mother is amazing. You know, when we first met her, we thought she worked here. She's taking care of everybody. And I think that's a woman of God myself. And definitely she had her own answer. So I like the reading about finding someone else who's already done it and have them help you. You don't have to do this alone. It's impossible to do it alone. It's impossible. It's so sad. It's so hard. It's so heartbreaking. You know what I mean? It's just easier to have someone help you, kind of third party, say, hey, it's going to be okay. This is what you got to do today. We're going to do this one day at a time, and you're going to walk through this thing with me. And thank God for people like that, right? We need a lot more of them because there's a lot of people that need help. So have a fantastic Saturday. I love you all. Let me know what you need. If you want me to talk about something specific, if you need help with something, direct message me. I'm always available, as you know. And make it a great weekend. Be well. I love you. Bye.